Hello everyone and welcome back to day 2 of the Professor Michael Scott live readings of ancient Greek drama on YouTube. Thank you so much indeed for joining us again. Yesterday, of course, we had Sophocles' Antigone. Antigone, the great female heroine who stands up to power. She stands up to the ruler Creon and tells him that she will not follow his commands not to bury her dead brother. And of course, as we saw in the speech yesterday, Creon's son, Haemon, tries to convince his father to bend with the wind and change his mind, but to no avail. Today, we move to a very, very different kettle of fish. Today, we move to Euripides' Electra. Now, this was written a bit later than Sophocles' Antigone. We're now in around 415 to 413 BCE, so towards the end of the 5th century BCE, when Athens was fighting the Great Peloponnesian War against Sparta and her allies. And Euripides is a very different kind of playwright, the sort of playwright who portrays people supposedly as they are. Often his main characters are sort of dressed in rags, but actually express all these great, very, very real, raw sets of emotions. And Electra, the story of Electra, is a very well-known one from Greek tragedy. In fact, nearly all of the great tragedians had a go at it. And most famously, obviously, we have surviving Aeschylus and his Oresteia, in which the second play, The Libation Bearers, we see Electra come to the fore alongside her brother Orestes. We also have Sophocles, who wrote his Electra as well, a play, again, focusing on how Orestes and Electra worked together to avenge the death of their father. And the death of their father, of course, very well known to all of us, is the death of Agamemnon. Agamemnon is killed by his wife Clytemnestra on his return from the Trojan War because of what Agamemnon did prior to going to fight at Troy. In order to gain the winds for his army to be able to sail to Troy, he sacrificed his own daughter Iphigenia. So Agamemnon sacrifices Iphigenia. In response to that, his wife Clytemnestra, alongside her new lover that she's taken while Agamemnon is away, a man called Aegisthus, plot to kill Agamemnon on his return. Agamemnon's children, Orestes and Electra, now in turn plot their revenge to kill Aegisthus and Clytemnestra. And unlike both Aeschylus' version and Sophocles' version of this tale, in which it's the male, it's Orestes, it's the son, who is the lead in actually carrying out the killings and never falters, and Electra is not quite a sort of stand by your side but won't do anything kind of character. In Euripides' Electra, it is Electra who is absolutely determined for revenge. And it is Electra who will, in fact, stiffen Orestes' resolve when it starts to falter. But the scene we're going to read is when Electra sees the body of Aegisthus, the male lover of her mother Clytemnestra. Clytemnestra is still to be killed. Aegisthus has been killed first by Orestes. He brings the body, and here we have Electra standing over the body of the dead Aegisthus and vaunting her pride in his murder, but equally taking the opportunity to say the things to him that have been boiling inside of her for so long. Here we go. Well then, which of your evil acts shall I tell of first as a beginning? What sort of end shall I make? What part of my speech shall I assign to the middle place? And yet, I never ceased, throughout the early mornings, repeating what I wished to say to your face if ever I was free from my old terrors. And now I am, so I will pay you back with those reproaches I wanted to make to you when you were alive. You destroyed me and orphaned me. And this man here, of a dear father, though you were wronged in no way by us, and you made a shameful marriage with my mother, and killed her husband, who had led the armies of Hellas, though you never went to Troy. You were so foolish that you really expected, in marrying my mother, that she would not be unfaithful to you, though you were wronged by my father's bed. Know that whoever ruins another's wife in secret love and then is forced to take her himself is pitiable if he thinks that the chastity which did not govern her before will do so with him. You lived most miserably, although you thought it otherwise. You knew well that you had made an unholy marriage, and my mother knew that she had in you an impious husband, both being wicked. She took up your fortune, you her evil. Amongst all the Argives you would hear this: that woman's husband, not that man's wife. And although this is a shameful thing for the wife to rule the house and not the husband, and I hate those children who are called in the city not the sons of the man, their father, but of their mother. For when a man makes a remarkable marriage, one above his rank, there is no talk of the husband, but only of the wife. This deceived you the most in your ignorance. You professed to be someone strong in your wealth, but that is nothing except to associate with briefly. It is nature that is secure, not wealth. For always standing by, it takes away troubles. But prosperity, when it lives wickedly and with fools, flies out of the house, flowering only for a short time. As to your winning, I am silent, for it's not good for a maiden to speak of this. But I will tell riddles that can be understood. You were insolent, because you had a king's house and were endowed with good looks. May I never have a husband with a girl's face, but one with a man's ways. For the children of the latter cling to a life of arms, while the fair ones are only an ornament in the dance. Be gone, knowing nothing of how you were discovered and paid the penalty in time. So let no evildoer suppose, even if he runs the first step well, that he will get the better of justice, until he comes to the end of the finish line and makes the last turn in life. Electra stands jubilant over Aegisthus's body, and I find it so interesting that Euripides has chosen this moment not for Electra to rehearse all the wrongs particularly that she has done, she has felt that Aegisthus has done to her, but actually to really take to task the way Aegisthus has led his life and the stupid mistakes that he has made in thinking about his position and frankly not being a man as Electra sets out a man should have acted and been. And it's after this moment in the play, after they've had this moment over Aegisthus's body, that Clytemnestra, the mother of Orestes and Electra, will come to the house, having been lured there under false pretenses by Electra, and it will then be lured into the house itself. And you start to hear Orestes wavering. He wavers. Can he kill his own mother? And it's Electra who stiffens his resolve and convinces him that he has to, at which point he kills. They both thrust the sword into her neck repeatedly to kill their mother. And at the end of the play, they both come out and lament this action. They both realise that it's a hideous action to kill one's own parent, and they are both told by the gods at the end that they will now have to do, though it was the right thing to do, justice demanded it, they will still have to repent for their actions in some way, as we see in both Sophocles' and Aeschylus' version of the play. But Euripides' Electra really offers us as a version of Electra that is unknown in the other surviving versions of this story. Thank you so much for joining in today. I hope you enjoyed Euripides' Electra. Tomorrow, again at 1 o'clock, Wednesday the 10th, 1 p.m. UK time, we will be turning to another Euripidean play, but this time Euripides' Bacchae. And we will be hearing how the messenger recounts how Pentheus has been ripped to shreds by his mother while she is inspired with Dionysiac frenzy. So another quite gruesome reading tomorrow. Do tune in. In the meantime, if you're enjoying some of the live readings, do think about coming and joining us for one of our Facebook live Q&As that we do every couple of weeks on a Thursday. The next will be on Thursday, the 18th of June at 2 p.m. You can sign up to receive notifications of that through the Facebook page, facebook.com/Prof Michael Scott. And here on YouTube, you can, of course, catch up with yesterday's reading if you didn't have a chance to watch it live, as well as all the other readings from this week. And there will be an additional series of texts that I'll be doing as recorded readings and putting them up on YouTube as well. So keep an eye out coming out for those. We'll be doing some Sophocles' Ajax, we'll be doing some of Plato's Apology, and we'll be doing some of Sophocles' Oedipus Rex as well. So they'll be available on YouTube after our series of live readings have ended. So join me tomorrow, Wednesday the 10th at 1 p.m. Very much look forward to seeing you then. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay well.